Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another season. Another Sheffield United match reaction. Watford have just beaten the Blades at home 1-0 at Vicarage Road. I've not missed doing these sorts of videos when we've lost. Let's put it that way. It didn't start off great either, did it? Because we were looking at a starting lineup that nobody could have called. Absolutely nobody. We've got a left footer playing at right centre back when we've got two very, very good right centre backs. I was wondering, who are we going to play at right centre back here, thinking we've got too many options. Turns out we've got no options. And we went with Kieran Clark in the end. Kieran Clark had a bad debut, I'll be honest, but I'm sure he'll get better. I'm sure of it. What else was a problem? Oh, well, Billy Sharp being back on the bench was nice to see. It was a bit of a shock that Ryan Brewster wasn't starting up front and Jebo did. I don't think he did too badly, to be honest. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen Brewster up there, see what he could have done. But I'm sure Brewster and or Sharpe will get a start in the next game at home against Millwall. Yeah, Max Lowe not playing left wing back, I thought was a big mistake. Turns out Max Lowe is the worst player in the world. I'm only joking. Of course he's not. But at the same time, he had such a bad game. But we'll get onto that. But yeah, it was a really difficult start because obviously we were thinking this is nowhere near our first 11. What is going on? The fact that Anel was suspended and nobody knew until Thursday. How has that even happened? I don't know who's made that mistake of either not knowing that or only just finding it out, because that should have been brought up a lot earlier on. And how have we not? How do we not know that? I can't comprehend it. I really can't. Bash obviously picked up a knock in training. Jack Robinson's picked up a knock in training and he's had to go for a scan. Every time Hecky says they've gone for a scan, you know it's bad. So I'm not expecting Jack Robinson back for a fair few weeks, to be honest. Which, looking at how Kieran Clark played today, I'm gutted. I'm absolutely devastated. But let's see. I'm sure Anel will be back in the next game. Hopefully Bash will be back in the next game as well, because we were really weak at the back today. We really were. But like I say, I'll get onto that. But early on, I thought we offered a lot of energy. We were chasing them down. We were pressing them. They weren't creating too much. They were playing long, hopeful balls over the top, catching us out sometimes. But our defense was so high against such a quick side, we just kept getting caught out over and over again. And it was normally down that left-hand side where Kieran Clark was. George was obviously pushed up quite high, which when you've got three centre-backs, you should be able to do that. But we certainly were a lot higher than what we probably should have been. Now, I was looking at it as a positive, thinking, we're going for this. We're not a team that's just going to sit back, try and absorb all the pressure, and then try and nick a goal on the break or from a free kick or a corner or something like that. We were actually trying to go for the jugular, it seemed. We didn't really go for the jugular, but we actually was, putting pressure on them, trying to keep them up the pitch. And actually, in that first half, we had a lot of the ball. Like, they were trying to catch us on the break. Now, not many teams come down from the Premier League and play on the break, which I think that works in their favour massively. But it was nice that kind of we were kind of putting ourselves on them and making them have to play on the break anyway. They played very well on the break, and really early on, Emmanuel Dennis gets through after a lovely little bit of play. I'm not sure was it Sarr that did it? That lovely little flick past Kieran Clark, but let's be honest, it were difficult to beat Kieran Clark there. Plays Emmanuel Dennis through and hits the side netting with a one-on-one. That was an early intent that they're going to try and catch us on the break, and they're a very, very dangerous side, and they were all game. This could have been 2-3-4-0. It really could. I'm not saying that because they had loads of chances. They had a few, but they didn't have any clear-cut chances other than the one that they scored, really, and this one-on-one, you could possibly say. It was a pretty poor shot, to be honest. He should have gone across the goalkeeper or at least hit the target and make Wes make a save. So they weren't a hell of a lot in that first half, to be honest. We were a lot better in the first half than we were in the second. In the 19th minute, Sander Berger, one of his only runs forward. He was a lot better in the first half. It was absolutely nowhere to be seen in that second half. And this is the thing. If Sander Berger wants to move to a bigger club or a club that's playing in the Champions League or in the Premier League or in a big league in Europe, he's got to play better than that. He should be absolutely running teams ragged with the makeup of himself, how good he is at football, how big he is, how strong he is on the ball. He should be looking at that thinking, I'm the best player on this pitch. And if he's not thinking that, he's not worth 20, 25 million or whatever he thinks he's worth, to be honest. And I don't know how, if we are trying to, I don't think we're trying to get rid of him. I think we want to keep him. And he will have a lot of good games this season. And he will take teams apart. But it needs to be more frequently. It really does. I love the guy to bits. He seems like a lovely guy. He seems like he is wanting to put in. He's wanting to try hard. It's just not coming off for him. Anyway, he surges forward in the 19th minute, has a shot, but it's deflected. And actually, I think normally deflections work against the goalkeeper. This one worked perfectly because it looked like it was flying towards the bottom corner. It might have missed the bottom corner or it might have ended up flying in that bottom corner, but it takes a deflection and kind of lands straight to Bachmann and he just picks it up. Thank you very much, Sander Berger. But yeah, it was a great shot. It was a great run. And yeah, it's just unfortunate that one time when it deflects straight to the goalkeeper. Then I write notes down. I've not written that many, to be honest, because I like to talk about Sheffield United attacks. There were a lot in this game, to be honest. I wrote Clark all over the place, and he made so many errors early on. He was so nervous as well. Like, even easy passes, he was just kicking at one of them. All he needed to do, the ball was bouncing up, just pass it to George Baldock with his laces or with his side foot as it was rising. And he tries to clear it upfield and completely miskicks it and goes out for a throw-in. Like, things like that, strikers and attacking midfielders are going to smell blood. And they did. And he was just all over the place. And Hecky had to take him off towards the end. I don't think that was because he was so bad. I think it was just because we were trying to kind of bring on more attacking players, try to create more chances, try and kind of force the issue. It never really happened. Then I wrote down Iliman and Dye, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Like Iliman and Dye, especially in that first half, it was like Messi playing against a group of young boys. Like, he was literally dropping his shoulder past them, knocking them over. He's about this big and about this wide. He's definitely worked on his strength, but I thought he was really strong for his size last season anyway. So I don't think it's necessarily something that he needs to work on too much, because you don't want to kind of get that big that you lose your kind of low center of gravity like he does. Because I think he's just a strong lad. Some lads are just built better than others, and I just think he has that strength. I think he's stronger than Sander sometimes, to be honest. For the size of him, he certainly shouldn't be. But there was one where the ball came up to him in the air. He brought it down brilliantly. When I say brought it down, he kept it up actually, and then flicked it around, and then got round like in between two men. What a player! What an absolute player, Iliman Ndiaye. He's going to have a fabulous season this season. Just from watching him there, it's not because I'm not kind of bigging him up too early, because I know for a fact that when the chips are down, he is going to come back fighting, and that's the sort of player that he is. You can tell. I wouldn't have took him off. I don't care if you're bringing Billy Sharp on. Do not take off the player that is playing the best for you. Now, yeah, fair enough. He might have slowed down a little bit. They might be worried about him getting cramp again like he did for quite a bit of last season. But the last game against Nottingham Forest, He played 120 minutes plus penalties and side-footed his penalty and sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. The lad does not look like he's slowing down. So I wouldn't have took him off if I was Hecky, but he did in that second half. But yeah, we'll get there. In that first half as well, talking about Ndai, a ball comes over from Wes. Jebo flicks it on brilliantly. One of the best things that Jebo did in this game, flicks it onto Ndai. And Ndai's got way more pace than I thought, to be honest. Now, it wasn't necessarily his pace that got him in on goal. It was his strength. And I don't know, just being nimble. He like kind of got his arms and his legs in front of the defender, and he could have easily got fouled there. I don't know whether at that point he was in the box or just outside it, but he really could have. He could have got brought down there because he did really well to get himself into such a great position to kind of get in on goal. He just kind of he didn't. He had loads of time. He had loads more time. He could have took his time. He could have looked like either come inside and take the defender on and have a shot, or he could have just spent a little bit more time getting himself set to try and bend it into that corner, or even fire it in that bottom corner, or like inside the post. But yeah, it wasn't an eliminating dive special anyway. I think that's one of his weakest points of his game, to be honest, not finishing things like that. But it wasn't the easiest finish in the world. But man, how we got to that in the first place was brilliant. And yeah, like I say, he's going to continue to be brilliant this season. Then we're looking at, oh, sorry, no, it's still in the first half. I've got so many notes from this first half because it was a lot better for us than it was in the second half. But I'm not talking about a Blades chance now. I'm talking about João Pedro's header, brilliantly saved by Wes Foderingham. I don't know where the marking was, but he heads that. It's going into the corner. Wes almost catches it, to be fair. So I don't think it was as good a header as what a lot of us thought it was at the time, but it's still a great save from Wes. He stopped it, first of all, and he's kept it in his grasp. So we're not giving away a corner. We're not giving away a throw-in where they can just put us under pressure. Wes has got that ball, and we are on the break. So great save by Wes. And then the final chance of the half for us. Oh, actually, no, they're kind of two. George Baldock fires a ball across to Jebo. Jebo kind of flicks the ball towards the goal. And I think he's got quite lucky because it wasn't a great shot from Jebo outside the box. He was leaning back. The ball was behind him. He just kind of knocked it towards goal. And luckily, it was landing just underneath the crossbar, and the keeper made a good save. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest shot in the world. And then the final kick of the half, the ball comes to the back post from a free kick. Egan, I don't know what he's doing, but somebody comes across and looks like they're going to try and nick it away from him, and he kind of bottles it and heads it over the bar. Yeah, it wasn't a bad first half. I put on Twitter that I thought that we were getting caught at the back a lot, which we were. They were playing on the break. They were pressing us into mistakes. There were a lot of players that had bad games today. I'll go through that towards the end. And I think the only bright spot really was how energetic we were in that first 15, 20, 30 minutes, something like that. We came into it kind of, I reckon, half an hour onwards and had a few chances, as I've just spoken about. But in that second half, we were nowhere near scoring a goal. I don't even think we had a shot in that second half, if I'm being honest, especially with all the players that we brought on. Brewster, Sharp, Kadra, all three came on. And yeah, we just didn't get into a position to have a good shot or even put a good ball into the box. But yeah, João Pedro scored from a breakaway. It was an absolute shocker of a goal to concede. Hopefully, it was the worst goal that we're going to concede this season because it was really bad. A ball, we had a corner. We had a corner, played it low into Fleck. Fleck's done this a few times where the ball's come to him on the edge of the box. Instead of just smashing it, it kind of like tries to side foot it towards goal. It reminds me of Huddersfield last season away from home, where the keeper made a fantastic save. It was going into the bottom corner, but he just kind of tickles it into the towards the goal. And this is what happened. He did that. and a Watford player stopped it, and then they were on the break. But then a terrible ball was played across the field to, I can't remember which one it was out of the three fantastic strikers that Watford had. But it was a terrible ball. Norrington Davis just seems to leave it to Fleck without saying anything. And then Fleck's like, oh, what, are you not clearing that? You can see because Fleck looks at him like and puts his arm out like, what are you doing? So, yeah, a big misunderstanding between Norrington Davis and Fleck. One of them should have cleared it. I am blaming more Norrington Davis because he's the first person that ball comes across. And Fleck is obviously thinking that he's going to clear that. But no, it's a comedy of errors. The ball's come across. Actually, the next pass looked offside, but we're not in the Premier League. We haven't got VAR. You just got to get on with it. Like it did look marginally offside, but to say that, like we were that bad at defending that they deserve to get away with it. To be fair, but then just a fantastic goal. It's one of those really frustrating goals where you can see exactly what's going to happen, and you're just hoping the pass across the box is poor. And the thing is, if we were in that position, the pass would probably poor. And if it managed to get to the striker, we'd probably hit it straight at the goalkeeper. So, yeah, it's just frustrating one where it's like they were so clinical. Great ball across the box and a great little finish under Wes. You know exactly what we were doing. So that's 1-0. And really, that's game over because we got nowhere near their goal after that, pretty much. We had some of the ball, but we were just we never got the ball in a good area. It was always in the corners or way outside the box. We never got it in and around the box. And a couple of times we played the ball into the box long. No one were there. No one even close to the ball. Just let them bring it down and pass it back out. So especially when you've got Brewster, Sharp, Kadra, all like kind of three attackers, who's going to win a ball? Who's going to win a header? Like, what's the point in even doing it? And the only thing that I can really talk about for us going forward in that second half was on the 82nd minute. John Egan heads the ball across the goal, but it just trickles wide. He was all on his own. It was a free kick, very, very good free kick. Egan stood all on his own. He either heads towards goal or he heads across the goal and tries to find, I think it was Sharp at the back post, but it's right in the middle. It's not to Sharp and it's not a header towards goal. He was obviously going for Sharp or whoever it was at the back stick, but yeah, it wasn't good enough, as was anyone tonight, to be honest. But we move on. I'll try not to be as negative because it is only the first game. Like, we were terrible for a good month, maybe 2, maybe 3 last season from the start, and we ended up in the playoff semi-final and could have gone up in the end. So yeah, we've got a long way to go, but we've got a long way to go, if you know what I mean. So I'll quickly run through the team. Wes didn't really have much to do other than pick the ball out of the net and make a good save from the header. Baldock, meh. He had a few balls down the right-hand side that he didn't really find anyone with. Ender Stevens on the other side obviously came off injured. We hope that he's okay for the next game. Then Max Lowe came on and replaced him, and Max Lowe did absolutely nothing right. Everything that he did was wrong, or a poor pass, or a long ball that was way too long, or a pass that was way too far in front of the player. Everything he did was wrong. And I don't know what it is, because Max Lowe was fantastic last year for Forest. So I don't know what it is about those red and white stripes that when he puts them on, he's not a very good player. I hope that it's got nothing to do with like his personal life or whatever, but it just, everything, you know, when someone just does everything wrong, it's just a little bit worrying. And yeah, I wanted him to start this game, and obviously he wasn't great. He really wasn't. I thought Reece Norrington-Davies, other than that, did really well. He's not quite as strong as you'd like him to be for a left centre-back, but he is. He makes up in that in the fact that he's rapid. So that's good. And I wouldn't mind seeing him there for the foreseeable future, to be honest, because obviously if Robinson's injured, yeah, he's got to play there. But then if we've got no Ender Stevens, it's got to be Max Lowe, and hopefully Max Lowe at Bramall Lane, with the crowd getting behind him, will perform better. And hopefully we'll have a lot more of the ball against Millwall at home than we did tonight at Vicarage Road. Johnny Egan, I don't think he had a bad game. Got pulled around a little bit. I was worried for him a lot when Emmanuel Dennis and Sarr was running at him and stuff. I was fearing for his life, to be honest, for him. Kieran Clark had an absolute shocker of a game, bless him. But he'll get better. He certainly can't get worse, can he? Fleck and Norwood, pretty abject. Didn't really do anything for me. Lots and lots of corners that didn't beat the first man. Really, really poor. And Koulibaly and Ollie Arblaster, neither on the bench. So, yeah, the only player that we brought on was Osborne, who was a midfielder, and he went on the right wing for some reason. I don't know where he went, to be honest. But it was very, very disjointed, especially when we brought on 5 subs. That almost 3 substitutions at one time almost just completely ruins the fluidity of the play. I know it weren't much like that fluid anyway, but it just kind of made it very, very disjointed. And I don't like that. I don't want us to keep bringing 3 subs on at once. We don't have to play 5 subs or 4 subs if we don't want to. Like, we don't have to bring them on just for the sake of it, even if we're losing. It didn't feel right. Maybe 1 at a time, 1 every 10 minutes or something like that, or 1 every, I don't know, or 2 and then 1 and then another 2 or something. Just not kind of like 3 at what was it? 1 and then another 3 and then I don't know if another one came. I don't know. I'm getting confused. We're not used to it. We're not used to 5 subs, and we'll get better at it. But I just don't feel like 3 subs all at once works. It just ruins it. It just ruins the play. Anyway. I thought Ndai was absolutely fantastic. Man of the match by a country mile for me. Sander Berger, for most of it, just wasn't on the pitch, it didn't seem at times. He had a half-decent first half. Second half, he was so deep that it was pointless him being on the pitch. I'd rather have seen him up front or just behind the striker than sat there, because there's no point. You're not doing anything. Jebbo, I think he had an okay game. Weren't too bad. Would like to see more of him. Will Asula not being on the bench. I think Will Asula would have been a handful for their defenders in that second half. I think he's stronger than Jebbo. I think he's rawer. He don't care. He gets stuck in. I would like to see Will Asula at least on the bench. I can't believe he weren't on the bench tonight. Kadra, I thought he did all right, but every time he got the ball, he had 2 men on him. They know that he's the danger man. They know that he's going to come on and try and create things. But yeah, he's not used to playing with the lads. He's only been here maybe a week or whatever. So he'll get better. I wonder if he'll start in the next game. I'd like to see him get a bit more of a run out. But yeah, it's always difficult when the last kind of 10 minutes they were just sat in and we just couldn't break them down. So yeah, frustrating, but we move on. We move on, don't we? I'll bring up a few comments, but yeah, it's getting on. It's getting on a bit into player ratings. That's not going to come out. You don't want to ask player ratings of me. If you want to put them in the comments so that people can see them, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, it's not for me. Thanks for holding this rehab stream, Nick. It's not that down about the results. We never start well. Onwards and upwards. We never start well. You're absolutely right. And thank you for saying that it's a rehab stream. It's also a rehab stream for me, to be honest. There were more poor performances in a season opener than I can remember. Worse than Birmingham last season. I was actually thinking about that and thinking it was a lot worse than Birmingham. It really was. But saying that, Birmingham were nowhere near as good a team as Watford were. Birmingham just sat in and we couldn't break them down. Watford, we couldn't throw everyone forward because we would have lost 3 or 4-0 in this game. And it's fine towards the end of the season when you're dying for points and you're not as bothered about, or you might not be as bothered about kind of like the goal difference, depending on where you are. But at the start of the season, you don't want to get smashed 2-3, 4-0. You really don't. It's not the end of the world, this result. Anyway, put it that way. I don't think Watford were good. I thought our second half was awful. How Fleck is playing after 2 terrible seasons. you're not wrong. I just feel like we've brought Tommy Doyle in. I think Tommy Doyle will replace either Fleck or Norwood. I don't think he's going to be an attacking midfielder like some suggest. We've got enough of them, and we may be bringing in another one from Man City. So I think Tommy Doyle will replace one of those two. He plays that role for England under 21. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in that role. I think he'll be back very, very soon. And I am very excited for it. You can only make 3 separate subs. Right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. No idea. I had no idea that was a thing. To be honest, I didn't. I only knew recently that we had it were going to be 5 subs this season. Like Max Lowe, Sanderberger doesn't want to be here either. You might be right. You might be right, Paul. You were right, Nick. 1 sub, 3 subs, and Billy. Yeah. It just don't feel right, does it? It's just, yeah, it just completely ruins the game for me. Sander did what he does every transfer window. Yeah, you're not wrong. Sanderberger, pointless being at the club. A lot of people thinking the same as me. Asula over Jebo every day and twice on Sundays. Not wrong at all, Kieran. No excuses. We were terrible, but come in. I think Watford will be good though. Oh, Watford will be top 2, I reckon. Now, having seen how the first the first game has been played out, I know there's a long way to go, but I do think that Watford will be at least top 3, if not top 2. But it depends if they keep those players. There you go. Sarr, Dennis, and Pedro should be illegal for the championship. They are mental. Yes, Justin, McAtee, he is doing a medical tomorrow, apparently, at Bramall Lane. We were told that, and we asked, can we share it? And we have shared it. So, yeah, very, very exciting attacking midfielder from Manchester City. I've heard that Hecky thinks he's going to be Morgan Gibbs-White. He's going to be a complete kind of comparison attacking midfielder as Morgan Gibbs-White. So that's very, very exciting. He looks very good on YouTube highlights, as everybody does. He just looks a bit like a Bernardo Silva, which is very, very exciting. But I think kind of better at dribbling at speed, if you like. Not a bad start. Plenty of positives in there. I'd like to know what they are, because a lot of people are not saying that. Rather lose 3-0 than 1-0 with no passion or fight. You're probably right, Chris, to be honest, but I don't think it helps anyone getting smashed on the first game of the season. Thanks, Nick. Disappointed because I thought we deserved a point here. Onto the lane, Tom, we need to have a chat, mate. I don't think we deserved a point in the slightest. I appreciate you might be looking at it through rose-tinted glasses, which we all do occasionally. But no, I don't think we deserved anything. We were very, very lucky to get a couple of good chances. Congratulations, Nick, with the baby. Poor game up the blades. Thank you very much, Andrew. I really appreciate that, mate. I wanted to go to the game, but also I just wanted to stay home with my baby son, to be honest. He's an absolute little lad. Doyle will replace Fleck. Fleck is done, and that kills me to say. You're not wrong, Kieran. I love Fleck, and watching him tonight, out of every game that I've seen him in, really hit home that Fleck looks like he's done. I thought he was great against Forest, but he doesn't play that way enough. And actually, half of that game, he was really poor, and he was lucky that Hecky kept him on. I hate to be negative, but what is Lowe doing in a Sheffield United shirt? It's mad, isn't it? How good he was last season for Forest, apparently, because obviously I didn't watch Forest that much last season. It's mad how good he was for them last season, how terrible he was today. To put it very, very politely, all players need a good talking to after that performance. And sometimes you need those performances to give you a kick up the backside. And hopefully they will play a lot better, a lot like we're used to seeing them against Millwall. Sander has that kind of personality the Blades need in the midfield. I don't know what that is, to be honest. Nick, where do you think we will finish the season? Oh, it's tough to say after this one game. I thought we were going to finish 4th. I put that out there. It's going to be tough. There's a lot of good teams in this. We might even finish in the playoffs. Like, I know that's probably me saying that after a defeat, But there's so many teams. I'm not saying that's because we'll play bad. There's so many good teams in this division this year. So many strong teams, and it's going to be a scrap. And if we finish in the top 6, I think I'll be happy with that. I really do. I'm a positive Blade, Nick. I keep my expectations in check. Fair play, Tom. I wish I could be more like that. More positive note flashes from Illy and Berger of what we already know. Yeah. Illiman Die were for most of the game was fantastic. We've got to say that. Low wants out. Yeah, fair enough. And finally, we need to revamp that midfield and quickly sell Berger and spend wisely. Ender Fleck should not be in a red and white shirt again. Oh, it's horrible to see that. But Alex, I don't think Alex is wrong. Anyway, let's leave it there, guys. Thank you very, very much. Make sure you like this video before you leave. It really, really helps the channel out. I want to be doing these all the time as soon as I get home, which I always do. I just want, if you could just like right now, that would really, really help me out, the channel out, and yeah, it just helps us bring better content here and more content here more regularly. So if you want all that, make sure you like this video. Comment if this is a video that you're watching and you want to get across your point of view from the game. And yeah, there's not much else I can say other than thank you very much for watching. On to Millwall.